Welcome back to Forgotten Working Class Podcast. I am Tiffany.
I'm John.
Today we have with us our guest, Chris. Chris, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Where are you calling from?
I am in Florida.
Okay, so are we. Our guest, Chris, today is a new friend of ours, and we feel so honored that you are here with us. Our dear friend, you are one of the strongest people I've come to know. I am genuinely saying that. Chris, at less than 2 years old, was given a 1% chance to live. He is a burn survivor, an amputee, and has gone through over 200 surgeries in his life. For anybody who's watching, you can view Chris online on his own podcast called Tea Time with Chris. You can also see more interviews with him by SBSK, which stands for Special Books by Special Kids. Also on their internet, more interviews with Chris. And I'm sure you've done a lot more things in your life that you can share with us. But how old are you today?
I am 39.
39?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have children?
I have 2 daughters.
Wow. How old are they?
They are 15 and 17.
Oh boy.
Teenagers.
Oh boy.
You have your hands
You
full.
definitely got your hands full.
Yep, definitely.
Ours is 13, our girl, and
Nice.
I can't imagine that 15 and 17.
We're almost
All
there.
that, yeah, it's all that sass.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Tons of attitude.
Yes.
Are you with anyone?
I do have a girlfriend, yes.
Okay, so it's just the girls and you?
Yes.
Wow. You're a single father?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
So inspiring. Everything you've been through, and you're a single father with 2 teenage girls.
Yeah.
We will pray for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I need it.
So, Chris, you were not born this way.
No.
Do you want to tell us what happened?
So, in June of 1986, I was outside with my mother, and we were doing like different outside things. She was actually watching through the window because she was making food, and I was in like one of those toddler swings, and she looked down for like a second, and when she looked back up, I was out of her view. So she immediately went outside, and she thought I was in her garden because I was a very curious kid. I was getting into everything. So she thought I was messing with her garden, so she went over to check, and I wasn't there. And during that time, I had wandered into like a utility room, like a storage shed or whatever you want to call it, that's attached to the house. And I had gotten into things on the shelf, and on one of the shelves was a little gas canister, and I had knocked it over, and there wasn't a lot of gas in it, but there was just enough some of it came out, and enough of the fumes to fill the room. And inside the room was a hot water heater, and the hot water heater came on with a little pilot light, and it caused the fumes to ignite, and it just everything burst into flames. And my mother heard the explosion and immediately ran over to get me, and it took her a little while because she kept trying and she kept just pulling skin, and finally she was able to get me out and put me out. And by that time the neighbors had already seen everything that was going on and called 911, and I was med flighted on a helicopter to Tampa General, and they didn't know really what to do because I was only a year old, and they just figured there would be no way I was going to survive with 98% of my body totally just burned with 3rd degree or worse. And they told my parents that I had a 1% chance to survive the night, and miraculously I survived. And I was in a coma for 8 months, and during those 8 months they had to do skin grafts and such. And I was one of the, I wouldn't say I'm the first, but I'm one of the first that they started growing the skin cells, like taking cells from my skin that wasn't burned and then growing new skin and then doing the skin grafts on me. And then after 8 months, I was able to go home, but it was totally different. I had to learn how to do everything with one hand because I lost my right hand. And in my left hand, I lost the two, like the pinky and whatever the other finger is next to the pinky. And
Finger.
yeah, and and then the rest of my fingers were really short. So I had to learn how to do everything all over again.
Truly incredible. So,
Yeah.
being that you were one of the first that they tested, the skin cells, how long does that process take? Were they successful?
Yes, they were very successful. I'm not sure how long it takes to grow the skin, but I know that like what they did was they would take the cells of the skin. They basically I don't know the exact term. My mom always called it like a like a cheese grater, pretty much, and they would scrape off the skin to where it wasn't burned, and then they would take those cells and grow them in the lab. And then once they were grown and matured, they would put it on wherever it needed to be done. But I'm not sure how long it took though.
That's
It's wild.
our first time hearing that. I mean, John has had skin grafts from his own body.
Yeah, to have them taken off. And it's always amazed me with the skin grafts because they take off a layer of your skin, but when you look at where they took it from, your hair is still there. So they don't go deep enough to take the hair off. It
Right.
just amazed me. I'm like, how do you do that? How's the hair still where it's, it's all bloody now? You're like, what's going on?
Right.
Oh, wow. You are a true miracle. And I can't imagine everything you've endured in your life between surgeries and trying to be a kid still. You're truly such an inspiration. And I know it's hard for you, as you've expressed on social media. You have your days. John has his days too. I have my days too, because I've witnessed all of this. I'm sure your mom has her days too. But you coming and sharing with us means a lot to us. We're very grateful to be your friend.
Thank you.
How was your childhood? Sorry.
No, okay, so it's crazy to talk to somebody that you've lived like this your whole life.
Right.
Okay, and we actually raised toys for Christmas for the children at Jackson Memorial that are burned.
Mhm.
And when we go down there, it hurts so bad to see these children burn, and that they have to grow up like this.
Right.
Where me, I'm already an adult.
Right.
I don't see it the same. A kid growing up like this is so much. It's just way harder.
Mhm.
So it's good to talk to somebody that you've been through this, and I hope other people that watch this can see that if they have their children that have been burned,
Right.
and to show that there's nothing stopping you. You can keep going, and
Yeah.
you're the definition of that.
You are so
It's
strong.
incredible.
So strong.
Gives me goosebumps. It does.
What was your childhood like? Did you get to go to school?
Yes, I went to school. I went to like a regular public school. I would miss like months and months of school from the surgeries and the recovering period. But they were really good at the hospital I went to was in Boston, Shriners Hospital, because when I was 5, we moved from Florida to Massachusetts because they knew how to do more than what they were able to do in Florida. So I went to Boston, the Shriners Hospital, and they actually had like a school inside the hospital. So if you missed school, the school would send it to the hospital, and then the teacher would come into your room. If you weren't able to leave the room, she'd come in and bring like books or whatever you had to do, and pretty much give you like your own classroom in your room. So I was able to keep up with the schoolwork that way. It got a little harder during high school because I had left the public school and went to a private school in 11th grade. And that was like the worst choice I ever did because that private school didn't have tutors or anything. They wouldn't send anything to the hospital. So I would miss months of school and then come back, and they would give me like a big packet full of schoolwork I had to do, and they'd be like, "All right, make all this up," and I wouldn't know what to do half the time. So I wound up having to repeat 11th grade twice, and then I wasn't done with the surgeries, so I was starting to fall behind again. So I wound up having to drop out, but immediately, like a week later, I went to a college and took GED courses, and I got my GED within like 2 months or so after that. But a lot of my childhood was spent in the hospital, and most of my summer breaks were in the hospital, so I really didn't get to have a lot of time to be a kid. So I'm kind of a big kid now that I can be, and um, it was it was easier during the younger years, like from like elementary to like 7th grade. It was easier for me, but then once I got into junior high and high school was when everything started to like really click in my head. Like I looked different. I realized it, and I was no longer like just naive to everything. Like I realized how people acted around me. I noticed it in public more because as a kid, I wanted to just be a kid. And that was all I wanted. And it was just to play and enjoy life. But then when you get older and things change, it was a lot harder. And my dad passed away in June of 1999, and depression hit me really bad. And everything that just was going on with that and the surgeries and just normal life was getting to me. And I was very, very depressed. I closed up to myself. I wouldn't talk to nobody. I wouldn't smile. I barely laughed. And I just hated who I was. I hated myself. And I couldn't accept that I looked different. I wanted to be like all the other kids. I wanted to I wanted to play sports. I couldn't play it because my lungs couldn't keep up. My leg couldn't keep up. I wanted to do everything all these other kids could do, but I couldn't. And it really got to me. And I was suicidal a few times. And my mom found out through a friend and had no idea because I wouldn't talk to anybody. I wouldn't tell nobody what I was feeling. And she was shocked because she didn't think I felt like that. And we talked, and she tried to help me. And I went to counseling and a few other things. And it helped some, but I didn't attempt anymore. But I still had this really deep hatred for myself because, like I said, I wanted to be like everybody else. And after I was done with surgeries, it was a different world because I was so used to going all the time. And then it was now at the point where, okay, I had to face the world, and I was scared. I didn't know how to because I didn't like the way I looked. I hated who I was, so I figured everybody else was the same way. And a lot of that still carries to today. I still have a ton of depression, but I'm not as bad as I was because I don't no longer hate myself or anything. I'm able to accept who I am now and realize that that everybody got something different about them. And yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I hope that you continue to stay strong and continue to love yourself.
Yeah.
Because I've seen videos of your girls, I've seen all your pictures, and you have so much to live for.
Yeah.
And I know you know that.
Yeah.
They are the light in your world.
Oh yeah.
You're an incredible man. You
Thank
really
you.
are.
I just hope you understand that you're incredible, but you've conquered more than most people in their life will ever have to go through.
Right.
And not many people will ever understand that.
Right.
So for you to sit here and you talk about this and you talk about your depression and all that, I mean, most men don't talk about their depression.
Right.
You know, especially on camera.
Right.
You know, they don't do it. It's just.
Right.
We have so much respect for you
But
and appreciation.
you've gone through this your whole life. You've conquered it. I mean, you're amazing, and I hope you see that.
Thank you.
So, was the reason that you were done with surgeries because your body was done growing, or?
It was mainly because I was tired of it. I didn't want to do anymore, and they had more they wanted to do, but it was more like it wasn't really anything that would really like improve my life. It was more cosmetic type stuff, and the doctors were even like expected me to say I was done because when they asked me, and I said no, I don't want no more. They're like, yeah, we wanted you to be done. You've had enough, and so it was a relief, but at the same time, like I said, it was like a totally different life because I was so used to it.
Do you keep in contact with any of your doctors?
None of my doctors, but some of my nurses I have on Facebook and Instagram, and my doctor I had my main doctor I had at Shriners. He had when I left, he had gone I want to say like Brazil or something like that to help people out there, and I think it was a few years ago I found out that he passed away. So, but it's just I want to say it's like 2 or 3 nurses I'm still in contact with.
Okay. It's good to have that support, and
Yeah.
we love keeping in contact with whoever we can when we meet new people, and we're friends with your doctors and nurses, and
Yeah,
we've built some strong relationships.
it helps us, but it also really helps them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, your doctors, yeah, they do your surgeries. You know, I have the utmost respect for doctors, but those nurses,
Yeah.
you know, they hold
do it all.
They hold it down. Like
Yeah.
the nurses I had, I couldn't ask for better nurses. I mean, they were just truly incredible people, a different breed of people.
Right.
You know, 2, 3 in the morning, you're in pain, and they come right to you. What do you need? You know, I got you.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah. So
you got your GED. Did you end up going to college or furthering education?
I went to a couple of years of college, but I wasn't able to finish it because I had to help with my ex with carrying my youngest daughter because she got sick during pregnancy. So I helped her to be home with her and help her through everything. So I wasn't able to finish college, but I took about, I want to say 2.5 years. I took computer hardware and security because I love working on computers. I love to build them and repair them. And that's just something that my mom said I was naturally born with it because she said that she remembered that like I just would fix random electronics around the house and I wasn't taught. I was curious, so I would always tinker with things and learn how things worked. So I was able to figure out how to fix things, and so I was just really obsessed with wanting to work with computers and stuff. And so after I went a few years to college and then had to leave, I eventually did get a job working with computers in Massachusetts. And what happened was I was advertising on Facebook and people were bringing me their computers to fix. And this business contacted me and said, hey, you want to come work for us because you're taking our customers? And I was like, I was like, yeah, sure. It's like, I was nervous at first because I had a few jobs beforehand, but they weren't like anything like that. It was like office work. And I had trouble finding work because people like to judge like my appearance and assume I couldn't do anything. So I warned them, like as they were talking to me, like on Facebook. I warned them, like, "Hey, I look different, and I know it might be a shock, but I can do this stuff." And they're like, "Well, obviously, you're taking our customers, so you know you can do this." So I went in for the interview, and I was so scared, I was shaking, and they were like the nicest people I've ever met. Like they didn't have an issue with the way I looked or anything, and I was blown away. And they were like quizzing me, and it they hired me on the spot. They're like, all right, well, you're gonna come work for us then.
That's
And I was
awesome.
like, okay. And I came in the next day, and I wanted to work in the back of the shop, like just to hide away myself and just work on computers. And my boss was okay with that at first. But then one day he came up to me and said, we're putting you at the front desk, and I want you to deal with customers. And at first I was like, no, I can't do that because I'm a very shy person. And he was like, well, we're going to get you out of your shell because I think people are going to love you and they're going to love working with you. And he's like, and I'm tired of seeing you shy, so we're going to get it out of you. So literally, they just made me work at the front desk, and it was scary at first, but I eventually like grew into it and loved it, and met a ton of nice people, and people were just amazed that I was able to do this stuff because they want to like they give me a laptop that needed like a new screen or something, and they'd be like, "Can we watch you do this? We don't know how you do this." Like, okay, so they'd watch me fix it, and they'd just be like, "Wow,
Amazed.
yeah." I'd be amazed. And there was one lady I remember. It was the best thing. I think it's so cool. But she came in and she was crying because her computer, like she had an older laptop, and she had taken it to a ton of different places like Staples and Best Buy and all that stuff. And they all wouldn't fix it. They all said, no, it's there's just too much wrong with it. And one of them even took a Sharpie and wrote trash like on the laptop. So she was crying because it had all her grandkids' photos, all her other, like her kids' photos, wedding photos, like everything was, all her memories were in this computer. So she brought it in. She was like, I don't know if you guys can fix this, but I need this. So my boss gave the job to me. Like I had another coworker there, but he gave me the job, and I took it out back, took it apart, and it was just one little like cable that was just not working correctly. So I replaced the cable and called her up and told her it was all fixed because it was fixed, it was working. And I didn't charge her for it because it took me literally 5 minutes to fix this thing. So I didn't charge her for it. And the next day she came in with a box full of homemade baked chocolate chip cookies, and they were amazing. And she wound up like telling so many people, and we had like a ton of people coming in asking for me. And after I left, because I had to move down here to Florida to be closer to my family, my boss, I still am in contact with my boss, and he said even been like almost 9 years since I worked there, and he's like, we still have people coming in asking for you, and they won't leave it because you're not here. And he's like, we need to
Incredible.
he's like, we need to do like remote work or something. I was like, yeah, but it's hard to work on computers remotely. So,
Well,
but
hey, we need your knowledge because
Yeah.
we are ridiculous. We are not tech savvy the least bit.
No.
You should
No.
see us fighting with our computers and wires and everything. It's a nightmare.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
So they gave you the push you needed.
yeah,
They
exactly.
gave you that push, no options. You're gonna go to the front desk and
Yep.
you're gonna learn to be social now.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But it worked out for you.
It did. Yep.
So how do you work on computers physically?
I don't know how to explain it. I just do. I just am able to do it somehow. I'm like I have my left hand, so I'm able to hold the tools, and then with my right this nub, I like will hold the things in place or whatever and work on it with my left hand. And I will sometimes I'll use like different tools to like grab or pull things that you normally wouldn't use because I don't have like the fingers to do it. So I'm able to, use tools for different reasons and other than what they're originally purposed for, I guess you can say.
Improvising.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the software part is just typing on a computer and using the mouse, which I can do just fine with one hand. I don't type as fast as most people that work with computer stuff type like over 100 words a minute or so. I'm only able to do like 80 words a minute, so it's not as fast. But like,
That's still faster than John with 10 fingers, but I mean, you
I
can't even spell.
I sit there and I go, everyone, man, there's none of this. I can't do that.
uh,
I'm terrible when it comes to typing, writing, spelling.
It's okay. It's all right.
I swung hammers and turned wrenches. That was what I was good at.
There you go.
Wow, you are incredible.
Thank you.
So incredible. I hope you hear yourself, when you're speaking about all of your capabilities because,
There's nothing stopping you.
yeah, look
Yeah.
at you.
Like I said earlier, you've conquered more than most people will ever do in their life.
Yeah.
You have had your fair share of extremely hard times.
Yes.
So you have teenagers. Do
Mhm.
they help you a lot? Do you need help with certain things?
I can do pretty much everything, but every now and then I have days where like I have like physical pain because I have arthritis in my knees and in my shoulders and my shoulder blades. So some days the pain is like a lot and I don't really want to walk much because it hurts too much. And like the bottom of my feet, like everybody has 3 layers of skin. I only have 1 layer. So when I walk, it's literally like bone against the floor. So some days it's really painful. So they'll be able to help me. I'll be like, hey, can you help me cook dinner or whatever? And I'll sit in like a wheelchair or on the couch or whatever and like help them, like tell them what to do and what needs to be done. And they'll do what needs to be done. I Yeah, like I do everything else by myself pretty much. Just if I'm in pain, they'll step in and help when I need it.
That's so awesome. They truly look like really good girls.
They have their moments though where they're teenagers and they're kids and they're like,
Yes.
no, we don't want to do this. Like, do we have to, Dad? Like, come on. Like, do you want to eat? Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you doing these days for work?
Well, I work for a company called EO Tours, and we do like tours around the entire globe. And we do like vacation, cruises, flights, all that stuff. And it can be for family, it can be for companies, businesses. We have some governmental stuff too. And what I do is I'm a proofreader. So each trip has a brochure and a website that goes with it. So they have designers that will do the brochures, and they like have a list. Like I work remotely now, and they have like a list through Excel, and I go on there and find the ones that are for me, and I compare them to like the main files, like where the customers put all their information and all the information about whatever's on the trip. And I have to check all the spelling, the grammar, punctuations, the airport codes, prices, itineraries, like everything. And even like the little tiny legal prints, I have to make sure all that is correct, all the deposits, and I mark anything that's incorrect, and then send it to the designer, and then they fix it. And then I go to the web page that goes with it, and with that, I actually have to like fix myself. I don't just mark; I have to fix it all. So I go through the same thing, check all the same things, fix them, and then they send them out to customers or whatever. Right now we have like over 2,000 trips, so we're pretty busy, and we get them literally everywhere, like Israel, Germany, Japan, Australia, like every country we do something in.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility on you.
Oh yeah, it's kind of freaky.
Are you ever pulling out the dictionary, or are you super good at spelling?
Oh well, there's sometimes where if it's like a country and they have like these.
I'll ask Alexa or Siri.
Yeah, it'll be like if it's like a foreign country and I don't know how to spell like the name of their city or the name of like the host or whatever, then I'm like, okay, I got to do some research, and literally I have to research into these people to figure out who they are, if it's them, and then make sure the spelling's correct. And the airport codes, I don't remember all the airport codes, so I'm like, okay, and I have to go look it up and figure that out. And other than that, I'm pretty good with it. So
wow,
that's a lot to do.
Yeah, it gets very busy.
Yeah.
It can get exhausting reading because some of them are the same exact trip, like literally identical, but the only difference will be the host. So you get like the same brochure, but you still have to check the entire thing because it's not like copied on the same thing. So you have to make sure they're all correct. So sometimes I'm reading the same thing over and over and over and over again. I'm like, this is exhausting, but it's all right though, because I'm just happy to have a job. So.
Yeah.
Please don't go to our website and proofread my stuff. I don't know what I'm doing.
I won't do that. I won't do that. I do. I also do websites on the side. There's a musician, and he has me build his website, and then he's linking me up with other musicians to do their websites as well. So I do website work on the side, and then I still do computer work on the side. So I have the app Nextdoor app, and like with your neighborhood or whatever. So I get a bunch of people on there that will be like, hey, we need this done with the computer or whatever. Can you do this? And the most recent one, a lady gave me like 20 laptops to fix, and I got them all fixed, and she was able to donate most of them to Africa or something like that, to a school out there. So they had their own laptops.
Pretty awesome.
So it feels kind of cool knowing that they're working on computers that I fixed up for them.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
just blessed all those children
Yeah.
in the country.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's awesome.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us.
No problem. Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions?
No, I've heard that. Told it all right now.
I mean, you've
That's
been through
awesome.
so much, and we're proud of you and thankful for you sharing what you've shared with us. We don't want to have super dark episodes, and we're here to encourage people and inspire people that no matter what you're going through, there's so much more to life, and you are a true testimony to that, and I hope that you see that. Look at everything you're doing. Look at the smile on your face. Like, we're grateful to have you in our life now.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, guys, if you're watching this, love your loved ones, hug your loved ones. Be kind to everyone you meet. You never know what someone is going through, has been through, no matter what they look like. Please spread kindness. John has had some situations where people have not been very nice to him, and I know you've had your fair share too.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some rude people. We've also had some people that
Everybody's just
didn't know
curious.
any better.
Right.
Yeah, I had a bag boy at Publix, the grocery store, and he asked me, "Did somebody throw a grenade at your face?" And I completely forget now that this is what I look like.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?" So thrown right off. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "Did someone throw a grenade at your face?" And I was like, "No, why?" And he was like, "Because your whole face is scars and burns." I was like, "Yep, nope, wasn't a grenade." I said, "I was electrocuted." A little different. And he was like, "Oh, it looks like someone threw a grenade at you." And I was like, "It does, doesn't it?"
People just say the craziest things in their
Oh, yeah.
expressions.
Yeah,
Not
people.
very nice.
Yeah, they just blurt out whatever comes right to their head first.
Right.
I've had people walk by and you're at Walmart or something, and somebody walks by and like, "What happened to your face?" Like,
Yep.
"Oh, hey, how you doing?" What happened to yours? Nothing.
Mhm.
All right, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All of my day.
So, for anybody watching, Chris grew up this way. There are many, many children in the world that unfortunately go through traumatic experiences like this. We've met many at our hospital. You now have heard that Chris spent most of his life in multiple hospitals. Teach your children to be kind, spread love, encourage them to go sit with other children at lunch, at the park, wherever you are. Chris, we want to thank you so much for coming to talk with us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything you'd like to say? Any encouraging words?
I don't know. I don't know right now. I can't think of nothing on the spot.
All right. Well, we're going to encourage everybody to never give up and keep pushing forward and use what you're going through to inspire someone else, help someone else. It's the world we're living in. It's okay to share what you're going through.
Yeah.
So if anybody listening, just know somebody is out there to listen to you. And if not, we're all here for you. Again, thank you for coming on, Chris. If you guys want to learn more about him, go to Tea Time with Chris, watch his podcast, find him on TikTok, Facebook, and we hope to hear back from you soon in the future.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay well.
You too.
Bye-bye.